This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the three hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, you know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
We're in Way Media.
Welcome to Rankin on Bass, an offhand joke that became a long-running podcast. I'm your host, Mike White. Joining me is a water vole that people like to call a rat, Mr. Chris Stachiw.
I prefer to be called Ratty, because there's nothing better than just putting a TY at the end of everything, or just, in some characters' case, a Y.
Also with us is the piper at the gates of dawn himself, Mr. Richard Hatem.
But I actually... Wait, God damn it.
Better than whatever voice you were going to do.
I wanted to do Charles Nelson Riley, and it's one. I always have it at the ready until this moment, and now I cannot believe I trip on the rug of Charles Nelson Riley. But anyway, I'm Mr. I can't do it. I'll do it later. It'll happen naturally.
Okay.
Was Charles Nelson Riley tripping over a lot of rugs?
Other than the one on his head?
Wait a second. Is tripping on rug some sort of euphemism for some sort of sexual act?
It's like cranking on ass, but a little different.
Anyway, glad to be here.
On this podcast, we discuss the works of Arthur Rankin Jr. and Jules Bass. Usually we talk about some of their stop motion and animated work, and we're talking about some bookends here. Some of the earliest stuff that Rankin and Bass did, including The Reluctant Dragon and Mr. Toad Show, all the way back from 1970. Yes, I know they started earlier than that. And then I believe this was one of their last productions, The Wind in the Willows from 1987. We got the old gang back together. We got Romeo Muller, Maury Laws, but I think even with the Reluctant Dragon, we've got a lot of these same familiar, well, I can't say faces, but familiar names that we have going on here. This one, we talked about Roddy McDowell a couple weeks ago, but he is back, ladies and gentlemen. He is the voice of reason, the ant to the Toad's grasshopper. He is Ratty, or Rat. And the star of the show here, of course, the one and only Charles Nelson Riley as Mr. Toad, based on the beloved children's book, The Wind in the Willows from 1908. And from what I've read, because I've never read Wind in the Willows, I did see the Disney version when I was younger. But
wait, really? You haven't read a 115-year-old children's book?
No, I haven't. But from what I understand, this is actually a fairly faithful adaptation of things. So kind of weird. I'm glad that I didn't read this because, spoiler alert, I think Mr. Toad is a dick.
Hey, I don't know if any of you California or Florida residents know, but you can go on a Mr. Toad ride at Disneyland because Disney's also done a Mr. Toad thing. Obviously, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Because, hey, what does Mr. Toad love more than anything else? Contraptions, aka cars, aka being a entitled rich piece of shit.
He's out of control. Like literally, he's like a psychopath.
Where does he get his money from?
Where does he get off is my question.
Fucking generational wealth.
Wow.
This guy is
I got woke.
Toad.
Woke. This is too woke for me. I knew it. This is woke. Okay.
What generational wealth is woken? Oh my gosh.
Well, no, I'm talking about Toad being generational wealth. Okay. He got a small loan from his father of $10 million. Okay. Right. That's how he came up with
it away.
Right. By driving cars into buildings and people and almost killing them.
Well, he thinks he's above the law. There's a one car where he's just like, I'm going to steal this. But then he was tripping and just like withdrawals, he sees babies on the ceiling and all this kind of stuff. And he's just like, I have to drive a contraption.
We're literally watching the final days of a psychopath. just burning out in an Anne Heche-like tour of destruction.
God, at least
it's horrifying to watch.
Yeah.
And it's what's weird is like, are we meant to cheer for this character, or I know what it is. We're meant to find his peridelictos funny, his little weirdness. We're meant to find his weirdness funny, right?
Toad isn't exactly a Gatsby-like character, but Toad is clearly someone who welcomes the modern world.
He's an early adopter.
Very early adopter. He loves the car and the train and the boat and the thing. I get the feeling that he's, if with the opportunity, he'd have the Betamax and the VHS and the Laserdisc player and the 3D TV. He'd have it all. And this book sort of came out at a time, of the Industrial Revolution, as it was, sort of gaining its feet through fits and starts. And I think Toad is supposed to be an indefatigable optimist who is welcoming the future, where his more pastoral friends are, as animals should be, a little bit more content to just relax and enjoy the coming and goings of the seasons and sort of the life that nature had intended for them. But none of that for Toad. Now, we watch it in the modern age and go, this guy's a fucking load. Mr. Load is more like it.
Well, that he can't even control any of these gadgets, that he has a boat and the mofo is like ripping the steering wheel off of it and he doesn't even know what to call it or anything. And I'm just like, what is your freaking problem? And then he's like terrorizing his neighbors with this boat, and then eventually he'll terrorize them with his car as well.
A serious question. Do you think this was deft satire at the time, setting it in the world of animals, but saying, look at how people are? What do you think?
You talking about from 1908?
Yeah, I'm talking about the book. Like, it was a children's book, but adults would read it and go, oh, I know what you're saying, Kenneth Grahame. I get it.
Could be.
Trenchant.
I mean, that's got to be what it is, right? It's got to be that, like, well, there's more to it, and it's not just about a crazy little toad dancing around and driving his car. Like, clearly, right? But the way it's being presented here, it is just about a toad driving his car. Like this, and like, I'm not saying it strips the subtlety out, but this kind of animation in this time in '87 kind of does. We haven't mentioned this, but I feel like it bears mentioning. The animation style is at times okay and at other times very off-putting. Mm-hmm. Like certain characters look just kind of, I think the word I would use is gross. Like the human characters look very gross and like so exact. Like again, like I don't know what other term to use, but if you saw them, they're like all very exaggerated and they almost look like they're made out of like clay. It's so strange.
It's the thing that we end up saying almost every week, which is that their 3D, animagic animation is charming and feels like it is theirs. Anytime you ever see it, you think Rankin and Bass. And then their two-dimensional animation feels very unremarkable and very much of its time, and it changes. I mean, there are various styles. We'll talk about Reluctant Dragon, next, but and that was very much of 1970. This is very much of 1987. But before we even get to that, I mean, I just want to land for a second. I mean, this is very much a story about the sort of a group of friends that's really about a group of friends who have one friend who's always the problem, who they are always having to contend with, always having to bail out. I mean, it's kind of a traditional story. We've seen it in other ways, and in life you have those friends. So I'm just wondering again if Kenneth Grahame was sort of like, oh, everyone reading this book knows I'm referring to Lord Dunstan.
Yeah, apparently there were some characters, some neighbors and things that he was throwing in there for his son, because this was allegedly based all on stories that he was telling his son. His son, who was born with severe birth defects, by the way. It was really a sad story to read that. But and then it was very odd to read, too, that one of the first stage adaptations of Wind in the Willows was actually done by A.A. Milne. And I think it was right around the time that he was writing his stuff for his son, Christopher Robin, all about Winnie the Pooh. So kind of a weird one and then the other.
I mean, okay, so Winnie the Pooh is a good kind of comparison piece, I think, because it's also about animals with very human qualities, but somewhat muted. Pooh obviously is sort of the center of it all. He's the one who's most prey to human folly, curiosity and gluttony, and everyone else has their eccentricities, but they're basically, Pooh is the one they've got to keep an eye on. He's the one we got to help out. Tigger does his crazy thing. He's sort of he's on something. But I like them because they're episodic, and I like them because they're kind of dialed down. But because they're dialed down, the character comedy, the comedy of manners becomes more apparent. The badger who doesn't like guests. I don't like having people over. And you just know, it's just like, okay, so these are when children or adults in 1908 read this book, they recognize all those types as people they know. And in the middle of it is this really exhausting toad that is insane, steals any vehicle he can find, and then wrecks it and goes right on to the next.
We have to talk about, you mentioned the grossness of the humans. First off, I was very thrown off when suddenly humans are in this, and I'm just like, well, the scale doesn't work at all because the toad is only this tall. But I'm like, okay, this is really weird that suddenly we have humans in this story. But the character design for Toad, all they did was took Gollum and just changed them just a very little bit. The entire time I just kept thinking of the Rankin and Bass version of The Hobbit, and I kept waiting for Brother Theodore's voice to come out of Gollum's mouth rather than Charles Nelson Riley.
Richard, you've brought this up a couple times, not on this episode and not on this show, but the Adventures of Ichabod, the Disney thing, and how much you're a fan of that. That was a dual feature with their version of The Wind in the Willows.
Right.
Wait a second though, but that was 1970.
That was in 1949.
The Disney
Wind in the Willows.
Legend of Sleepy.
Yeah, it was 49.
Wait, no, but not this animated. You mean there was another animated version?
There's a Disney version of Mr. Toad from 1949, and that's the version that they based. Yeah, and that's the version that they based all of their things at the theme park off of. But what's interesting is I mention that only because I feel like that's the iconic illustration for Mr. Toad is that look. And to your point, Mike, like it is Gollum. It's very. Again, it's not off. He's not the off-putting character, but it's just like if this is your lead and he's supposed to be kind of charming, he kind of looks like an ugly toad. Like he's not cute looking. He's just kind of like a anthropomorphic toad in the most literal of senses.
Right.
Well, far be it from Rankin and Bass to not reuse a design.
Right. Well, I mean,
yeah. Of all the characters, I have to say Ratty is probably the cutest of them.
Yes.
Maybe followed by Moley, I suppose. And Badger comes in real late into this. And when he does, I'm just like, he doesn't sound like Jose Ferrer. For like, I would say 90% of it when he's doing his voice, I'm just like, I don't hear the Padishah Emperor speaking to me. And then finally, occasionally, there'd be like, okay, I think I just heard some Jose Ferrer in there. But having Eddie Bracken do the voice of Moley, I'm trying to remember if we've had him in anything Rankin and Bass before. But like I said, for sure, Roddy McDowell had done that voice in the, what was that? The Cricket on the Hearth.
He's the cricket on the hearth. It's the wind in the willows. Man, that's the other thing.
What the other song was. The other song is "When I'm Messing Around with Boats."
Hey. I mean, you mentioned the animation styles on the non-animagic things not being particularly memorable, Richard. What about the fact that the music in the non-animagic things is a real slog? I mean, it's not that it's bad. It's just that it's uninspired.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think uninspired is the right word. Yeah. It's sort of there. It's just sort of, doodly doo, time for a song. I mean, that's the thing.
Literally.
It's like this is aimed really young. And I would say, I think I kind of liked it more as it went along as my expectations dwindled and I finally settled into what it was. Because it's fairly inoffensive, and the characters and their friendship is pleasant. And I guess I didn't expect it to be quite so episodic, which made it feel longer than an already long 90 minutes, don't you think?
Yeah, I paused it at about 45 minutes, not knowing what time it was, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm halfway through." I thought for sure I was like just about to the third act. I was like, "Oh no."
I thought, "Oh yeah, this ain't 1 hour." It's an hour and a half.
Well, and that is the other thing about this. It is, I didn't need this to be an hour and a half. It doesn't, the story that it's telling, it feels, I mean, it goes everywhere. Like it goes all over the place. I mean, we have them meeting new characters that have never made it to the surface before. And then Toad goes to jail and it's going everywhere. It's like, maybe don't try to adapt every bit of the Wind in the Willows. Maybe cut some of the things out that don't move the story along or aren't necessarily particularly that interesting.
Right. Well, that's the trouble with something that's so episodic is that it does feel like it could be lengthened or shortened at will. One of the things, though, in our Rankin and Bass, the Enchanted World of Rankin Bass by Rick Goldschmidt, which is really a great book and everyone should get it. The quote is, I don't know if it was Rankin or Bass, but it's like, you picture me with a cigar. Yeah, we owed ABC another special. And it was our last one. We were trying to scrape it off our shoe, basically. And we didn't have any ideas. And we just kept throwing shit at the walls, hoping something would stick. And finally we said, do you want something like Wind in the Willows? And they went, yes, do Wind in the Willows. And we laughed because we'd already done that for them 17 years earlier. So we just did it again.
I feel like I was in the room right now. I was transported.
but it gives you an idea of where they were sort of in their lives. It was like, this is a contractual obligation. We have to fill a 2-hour slot. They want Wind in the Willows. We've already done it, but don't say anything. Let's just run and go do it again and get it done. And they did. And this is the result.
Yeah. This is around the time that they're also doing what they call the comic strip, where it was the various animated things of Tiger Shark, Street Frogs, the Mini Monsters, and Karate Cat. So that's 87 as well. Whoa. They have stopped all live action productions. The last one was in 83, The Sins of Dorian Gray, which we talked about before. The Last Unicorn was in 82, and then their next animated feature isn't until The King and I, which we talked about just a few months ago. So they're really like, this is like you're saying, like, I want to say there's the Santa Baby thing that we've talked about, which I can't remember if we have tracked that down, but yes, otherwise
it's on YouTube in its entirety.
Otherwise, like that and The King and I are the last things that they're going to do. And that's going to be another 10 years before they get even close to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's funny is if you go and look at the stuff on TV, like I feel like the stuff on TV, like was carrying them for a while, right?
Mm-hmm,
like Thundercats. I mean, Thundercats was immensely successful, and they have a hand in that. Like that's not nothing. But then they have stuff like this, and it's like, whoa, like guys, like you can't half-ass this stuff, especially in the 80s. You can't half-ass cartoons anymore, because this is like the time when you have that audience. That's the right audience. Like Saturday morning cartoons were such a thing in the 80s, and there was such a push for that. And I mean, they did a Coneheads cartoon. So like things that don't need cartoons are getting cartoons because they know that they have an audience that they can play to, which is a child or younger audience.
Chris, how weird is it that we've run across Pâté de foie gras like twice in the last week while we've been talking about things?
I know. Yeah, they were trying to eat it in Barney Miller, and now they're singing a song about it here. I love that this is like, it's like, we don't have any pate. Like, what the, yep. Because a 6-year-old is going to know what the fuck that is. Like, it was just so strange. Because it seems like it's for adults.
Right.
But
that's what I was going to, yeah. It's like, that was clearly okay. And that's something for the grownups. They're out there starving, but they don't have any pâté de foie gras. That'll give everyone a chuckle at the upper classes.
Yeah. I like where you're coming from with this whole idea of these, the wastefulness, seeing like Toad's graveyard of all the ruined boats and things that he, just ruins everything that he touches, and just has enough money. He's got all those statues of himself in his yard. But
wait a second. Statues of himself in the yard, ruins everything he touches. A destructive, pompous psychopath. Mm-hmm. Who does this remind me of in American politics?
And he looks like a frog.
Well, I was with you with Mitch McConnell there, but he's more of a turtle, I suppose.
All right.
That's fair.
No more bubble, no more squeak, guys.
Again, like this is for an American audience. Do they even know what that is? You guys know what bubble and squeak is, right? Like
I thought I did, but I think I keep mixing it up with bangers and mash, because when they showed the cabbage, I was like, oh, is there cabbage bubble? Oh, okay.
Yeah, bubble and squeak is like potatoes and cabbage, right? It's like yeah.
Oh, I thought bubble and squeak was like sausages that sort of make that sound, like when they heat up. They make
that's bangers and mash.
That's bangers and mash.
So we're on the same page, Richard.
Yeah, bubbles and squeak is like potatoes and cabbage cooked together.
But they don't bubble and squeak, do they? Maybe they do. I don't know.
I think cabbage does. Yeah.
Why it's called bubble or squeak?
Yeah.
But no American is going to know what the fuck bubble or squeak is.
I guess not. I mean, again, this was written 115 years ago. I don't get stuff that was done 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. So, we've all got our blind spots.
Well, it's weird to me that this is something that someone wanted at that time in 87.
Yeah.
Like with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and fucking Thundercats and other things like that. It's like they didn't even attempt to make this lighthearted. It feels like oddly serious too. It's like he lost his house, he's going to jail. It's like, wow, what kid can sympathize with what he's going through or like understand even? Like,
well, it's so odd. Like my favorite part was when it's like, okay, we're his friends. It's like they do an intervention.
Right. Repent.
Yeah.
They ask him to repent.
It's like tear his clothes off and then put him in a room in his underwear. And Badger, you go yell at him.
Yeah.
And make him feel like shit. And we'll wait outside. And then we'll just keep him locked up in that room for weeks.
And the guy's getting so desperate. It's like a heroin fix that he needs to have a gadget. You know, he needs to have, he's got the need for speed.
He like breaks out of like rehab and goes on a fucking tear. And now it's just stolen cars and prison breaks. Guy's out of control.
His whole weird thing of like, I'm pretending to drive a car. I'm like, you're having a psychotic break, my friend.
Now that you mentioned the heroin, it does make sense why Mr. Toad called Badger Dr. Penway at some point. So it makes perfect sense. It's that scene where the Toad is in the tree driving was, oh my God. Oh, yeah. Just like, it's like, you're fucked, man. Like,
oh yeah.
Chill, Mr. Toad. Now Mr. Toad is just a ball of energy.
Oh yeah.
He's the kind of person where if you tied him down to a table, he'd be walking out the door with the table on his back. He'd be like, he's like, you can't stop me. I don't care. Yep. Like, all right. Like we all have a friend like that, right? Maybe, hopefully not anymore.
Yeah, well, it's like I mean,
not anymore.
It's a personality type, but it's a very adult person. Like I don't know, maybe there are kids that are just like uncontainable, you know, Dennis the Menace.
That's what
it feels like this
for.
Is
wow
obsession.
Yeah, no, the whole obsessive thing. I mean, I have had people in my life. I don't try to anymore, but where they just obsess and obsess and obsess, and it's like it drives me crazy. Usually, it's about things they have absolutely no control over, as opposed to Mr. Toad, who can just go out and buy a car and wreck a car. But it's very destructive, you know, and it's also very dangerous. Who knows who he might kill? I mean, he almost takes out Ratty in one of the very first scenes. He ends up stuck in a tree up in his boat.
Well, yeah, when he does the boat thing and apparently creates like a tsunami.
Right. Kelsey destroys half of the town.
Well, you literally see houses. It's like he's destroying people's homes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is everyone just cutting him slack?
Richard, his house is up on a hill, okay? He's fine.
But Chris and Mike, all I'm asking you is, why would anyone tolerate such a destructive force who destroys everything in their path, doesn't really care about anyone else, and portrays themselves as a victim? Oh, wait a second. I'm talking about that American politician again.
But again, like, I don't know why anybody would why would anyone want to tell that story is a very good question.
Yeah. What's charming about someone who has so little self-knowledge or ability to deal rationally with the real world outside of their own avarice context? I don't know why anyone would celebrate that.
Mm-hmm. Me either. And it's weird because that is the feeling that it strikes now for me, is like, Toad's just kind of a prick. Like, and again, like there are good qualities of his character, but it feels like he's overwhelmingly a problem, and he has like minor redeeming qualities, which, I mean, again, like even like people in the real world, like there are people that are just overwhelmingly negative, and they're still people and they still deserve to exist and experience life like the rest of us, but doesn't mean I need to interact with them. And it doesn't mean I need to have a story told about them to kids trying to make it not about how much of a rich asshole the character is. Look, we're a bunch of wokesters, clearly, talking about a rich Toad cartoon, and it needs to be canceled. That's the big takeaway here. I'm kidding, obviously, but it's very strange because they're not making The Wind in the Willows in 2023. Like that's you know.
No,
I think,
but I'm amazed at how many adaptations they've had of it over the years.
Oh boy, isn't that the truth?
Wow, yeah.
As recently as 2006, which made me realize that Bob Hoskins was still alive in 2006 because he was in that adaptation.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say that I think I would rather see Toad indicted and serve time. And I would like it if they locked him up to prove that no one's above the law.
Mm-hmm.
In that version, Bob Hoskins plays the Badger, and Matt Lucas plays the Toad.
Oof.
Boy,
boy,
it makes you just want to run the other way.
Yeah.
Who's Matt Lucas?
Most people would know him in the US as he was both Tweedledee and Tweedledum in that horrific Tim Burton adaptation of Alice in Wonderland. Also was in, what was it? It was him and another guy, and they had Little Britain was their comedy show. Or if you're a big fan of Bake Off, he's been one of the 2 co-hosts for the last 3 seasons, and it's just been terrible.
He's not funny, but Noel Fielding is, and Noel Fielding was doing everything he could to put that show on his back to make it funny, because Matt Lucas is not funny. So it makes sense that he's the Toad. Another version of the Toad in 95 was played by Rick Mayall.
Okay, I can see that.
In the animated, that was another animated version.
Oh boy, I could see him really chewing through that. That would be good.
And then there was another made-for-TV animated movie that featured Hugh Laurie as the Toad.
Wow.
As well, yeah.
What is this like? Is like Hamlet? Like every actor must do it at least once? What the fuck?
Play the Toad! Play the Toad! Well, and then there was
so much to bring to this character.
In the immortal words of Charles Nelson Riley.
Well, and then there was
even better than mine.
Live action Wind in the Willows from 96 that had like half of Monty Python in it.
Yeah, which I was curious about, but I didn't go down that path.
I want to watch it so badly. It has Terry Jones as Mr. Toad.
Yeah. And I think he directed it too.
Yeah. And it's Steve Coogan as the mole and Eric Idle as the rat. And Nickel Williamson as Mr. Badger, which...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's very fitting.
Yeah. I would watch that. But why?
I've never heard of it, which makes me worry that it's not as great as we would hope.
I mean, it's a live action. It's a live action version of The Wind in the Willows where it's actors playing animals.
Mm-hmm.
But do they have like animal makeup on, or are they just like being themselves?
Well, if Terry Jones on the poster is any indication, he's green.
Okay.
Oh my God. Boy, I'm sure it's real good. Jesus. It was positively regarded, but was a box office bomb.
Very much looks like, okay, yeah, this person has a tail. And yeah, Terry Jones is okay. All right. Well, yeah, Eric Idle has whiskers, but that's about it as far as his rat appearance. Looks kind of surrealistic. There's a talking sun that looks like Michael Palin. So yeah, kind of a weird thing.
Okay, so it's an hour and a half. It's Wind in the Willows. It's got some music. It's faithful to the book. It ends with a slightly reformed but not really reformed Mr. Toad, who basically is now saying, I really am going to repent, and I'm going to make amends for everything I've done, but then slowly begins embellishing his own repentance to the point where it seems very overdone. He's basically saying it's going to be the greatest repentance of any repentance.
Right.
And it ends with him going, it'll be the most modesty anyone's ever seen, the greatest, biggest modesty ever.
Right. You know, I'm 100 times more modest than thou art.
Exactly. And you're left with, oh, okay, right. He isn't really reformed. That old reprobate.
Mm-hmm.
He's that funny Mr.
Sort
Toad.
of guy. He's Mr. Toad.
He's a funny guy. Like, but are you gonna destroy shit again and go to jail and get away with it? Like,
No,
are you gonna do all these things again?
Unless he gets into therapy and maybe does rehab and really works on himself.
Yeah.
Mr. Toad needs help.
He does.
He really does.
So should we switch gears here, fellas?
Yeah, let's go talk about the version of Mr. Toad that might actually somewhat be lovable. At least he's cute.
This is very interesting. So the Reluctant Dragon and Mr. Toad. So apparently Kenneth Grahame also had a character called the Reluctant Dragon. I did not look up the Reluctant Dragon either because I figure this is probably a little field from what he wrote. But I mean, basically, there's a dragon who is allergic to daisies. I mean, I'm coming in cold here, people. The episode we watched, it seemed like it was middle of the pack type of thing. So I'm not sure. I didn't see the origin story.
This is the first episode of the show.
What?
Right. Okay. So
dude. This is the first episode of the show.
Oh,
okay,
did they do like a Fox and play these out of order or something?
Well, hang on. Just to be clear to the listener, we're now going back 17 years to 1970. And now this is the project that Rankin and or Bass was referring to when they had that meeting with ABC. And it's like, we've already done this, but if they want it again, that's great. And this is a half-hour Saturday morning cartoon that is broken into 3 little stories. And I believe we watched the very first episode, which had 2 stories about the Reluctant Dragon, and then in the middle was a story featuring Mr. Toad, Ratty, and Moley, and Badgery.
I think that's how every single episode goes, because I'm looking at all of the titles of the episodes, and like in the next one, Casey Toad is the middle segment. 2 after that, it's Ghost of Toad Hall is the middle segment. So I think each one of these was Reluctant Dragon, Mr. Toad, and then Reluctant Dragon again. And the Reluctant Dragon one is, it's very similar here. And I'm going to have to bring up Bullwinkle. This is super similar to Bullwinkle, especially the voice of the dragon reminded me of Bullwinkle a lot. But with Bullwinkle, you always had like the one segment and then there was a break, and it was either like Aesop's Fables or the Major McBragg or whatever the guy's name was. There was always that middle section, and then you would go back to the second part of the Bullwinkle story. And that was always good too, because after the first part, they would have the, stay tuned for, and then they would have the alternate titles for the next one. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Police Squad, but these were actually, 2 different titles that they would give you, or so-and-so. And they were always great puns, which I always appreciated.
Well, yeah, it was the guy doing the voice of the dragon is Hermie from
really?
Rudolph, he does 2 voices. He does the dragon and he does the tiny Viking.
Oh, that I definitely heard. Yeah.
And now the joke is the big Viking and the king are both done by, and I'll find their name in a minute, but by the guy who's the manager of the elves.
Right. Carl Banas, I think. Yeah.
Carl Banas.
Yeah, what's his name again?
Right. Carl Banas.
Carl Banas. Yeah, that's the guy. And then is it?
A dentist. Yeah.
That was pretty good, Mike.
Thank you.
I think the version of the episode that we watched,
Paul Souls. That's it.
Yeah.
Did have a episode segment out of order, because on Wikipedia, at least, it says one of them that we watched is not from the first episode.
Oh,
but
okay, interesting.
I will say, I think I enjoyed this a lot more than I enjoyed the full-length narrative, only because this seems to be the right way to do these characters, where it's like 7 to 8 minutes, if that. Like, I don't need to see Toad for an hour and a half. Like, holy moly. Like, I'm not sure I need to see Mickey Mouse for an hour and a half either, unless you've made it really compelling stuff. Like, just this level of character and this level of storytelling is better suited for a shorter narrative than a hour and a half long one. I think just a general rule of thumb when we're talking children's animation, can't see me, I'm doing quotations in the air because this is an audio fucking narrative, not a video one. But I think I feel like the movie was made for kids, and I do feel like it's a hard sell to try to sell an hour and a half long thing for kids when it's literally like very, very unengaged. This is engaging.
What's interesting too, that I had forgotten that the Reluctant Dragon was also a Disney character. So I when you said, because I read about that connection of Wind in the Willows and the Sleepy Hollow story, and I was like, well, why didn't they do the Reluctant Dragon as well as Wind in the Willows? And I was reading about this, and I remember the character. When I look at the character design, I'm like, okay, I've seen this character before. But reading about, I guess maybe it was an early version of this for Disney, where it was an actor playing someone trying to get their animated film made. I'm like, I don't remember that at all, but I do remember the actual. I think it was I don't know, an hour and 13-minute movie of that, which I imagine is probably very episodic. So it sounds very similar to what we were just talking about.
Well, what's crazy is Disney has it on Disney Plus. You can watch The Reluctant Dragon on Disney Plus. It's part of their animation collection of classic short films. So
nice.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, Disney and Rankin on Bass have kind of been like going back and forth with what they're doing. I mean, Disney never does Animagic. That is a Rankin and Bass thing. And I feel like that was kind of a missed opportunity that Disney never took it a step further into a different medium. They seemed solely contented to do animation, like hand-drawn animation. And I kind of wish Disney had been pushed by Rankin and Bass and their success to do something else, because we've never really mentioned that on this show, the kind of the Disney connection here, but it's more apparent now than with anything else we've talked about, given that this is a Disney. I mean, again, I have a hand-drawn picture that I got for my wife when we were in Disney World there last time because, they have the people that will like do a hand-drawn sketch for you of a Disney character. So I have one of Mr. Toad. That's how I like Mr. Toad in the Disney version. And like, it's weird because we've never talked about Disney on this show, but it's the first time where Rankin and Bass and Disney have a thing that they've both done. And I actually think that the show version is pretty interesting. I don't think no good or bad is kind of unimportant, but I think it's a better done version of Mr. Toad than that movie that they would end up kind of throwing together from the sound of it.
Well, from the one that we watched, it feels like they boiled it down where it's every little story is going to be about a harebrained scheme on the part of Mr. Toad, and then his friends get pulled along and are the sort of the oil to his vinegar, and maybe they can keep things from, spiraling totally out of control, which is about right for a 7-minute story for 5-year-olds.
Well, and again, it's more about taking those characters and just doing things with them as opposed to the character and the story that they come from, right? It's again, because Mole, Badger, and Mr. Toad, they're such kind of big characters that you can put them in a scenario and just let the scenario dictate what's going on, but you have these big characters that are well-defined. It's like Winnie and the Pooh, right? Which I know you had mentioned it before, Mike, about A.A. Milne. Also, E.H. Shepard did the hand drawing for the original Wind in the Willows and the original Winnie the Pooh. So there's that kind of secondary connection as well between Wind in the Willows and Winnie the Pooh. I mean, Wind in the Willows is a big book in terms of like the amount of times it's been adapted, both, live action and animated, and the amount of things have been done from it. But I just don't think it's a story that has... You know what? It has a place in 2023, but you would have to do it the way that we've kind of hinted at, which is make it satirical, make it kind of tongue in cheek, make it more adult, make it like you could do like a Mr. Toad thing for HBO Max or something where it's like, you've got this asshole who doesn't it's like Always Sunny, right? Just make him a terrible character and make that part of the appeal. I don't know. Again, it's not like we don't have characters like Tony Soprano who murder people, Walter White who's a drug dealer. Like, it's not like we're not used to terrible people. It's just there's got to be more to it than you're just rich.
So in other words, it's just like Curb Your Enthusiasm.
But with Mr. Toad, why not?
Well, we just call him Toad, but we just cast, a comedian and surround him with, Richard Lewis and Jeff Garlin and, just kind of, it writes itself.
Yeah. But again, we have terrible characters leading shows, but yeah, Mr. Toad, I don't know, he's just rich. There's kind of more to you, man. At least make me hate you just for more than just being rich and like a layabout.
We get Nick Kroll. I think Nick Kroll is the main guy.
Oh, there you
go. And then Paul Scheer could be, Moley.
Mike's favorite.
I think Ratty would be better because he's got that gap between his teeth. It would probably work well.
There you go.
I'm not putting him down. I'm just saying I think that would be better casting.
Actually, Jason Mantzoukas would be better as Mr. Toad because he has that sort of manic insanity. I picture him stealing a bunch of cars.
I could see that. Yeah, the story that they tell is interesting because there is this kind of dickishness as far as him coming along and being like, "Hey, I want your bathtub," and dumps Ratty out of the bathtub, or "Hey, I need this oxygen thing that you're keeping your orchids in," and then the orchids die, and he steals the oxygen thing, and then he goes to Badger, and I can't remember what he steals from him. Is it the engine or something? The something in his kitchen, I think it is. Yeah. And then he's like, "Oh, hey, you guys come along with me and check out my new submarine." And then everything goes wrong because he hasn't built everything into it. But at least he gets out of the submarine and tries to save them.
Right.
Because I don't see that Toad, that Charles Nelson Riley version of Toad doing that. I would see him being like, "Oh my God, there's a squid out here. I can't do anything." And then like Ratty would be like, "Oh, all right, let me put on the wetsuit and go outside and see if I can reason with this thing."
Why wouldn't in the version of the movie Toad, he would just leave them?
Yeah,
he's an amphibian. He'd just be like, "Later, see you guys." I mean, you're trapped underwater in a submarine.
Mammals.
Yeah, see you guys. Like that's what he would do. Mm-hmm. I did like that. I did notice that where it's like, "All right, I fucked up. Like, let me go and fix it." And then he like makes octopus for them at the end. I mean, he's trying to be, trying to be very nice. He is cute. I do like the animation style. I really like it. I like the animation style. I'm not going to lie.
It's very different from the Reluctant Dragon, though. You've definitely got two distinct teams working on this show.
I'll take this and these two teams over Gollum the Toad.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about Reluctant Dragon? Do you like him? Are you engaged with the character of, "I'm afraid of things"?
No, I do.
Then I mess things up, but then things work out anyway.
Is it implied that in like his intro, he kills a child? Did you guys notice that where he goes, "Ooh, flames," and there's like a child standing next to him, and then he's just like what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like he's reluctant. He'll murder only if he needs to.
Right. Oh boy.
He's the reluctant.
Don't make me kill again.
Reluctant child murdering dragon.
What is the reluctant in reference to, if not him murdering people? I wait to have the definition of what the dragon is reluctant to do.
Well, it's kind of like Unforgiven.
Yeah.
I've killed too many already.
He doesn't want to go back to his old ways. He just wants to be left on his farm raising the children he had with the woman he loves. But the modern world comes back a knocking on his door.
Just when I got out, they pulled me back in. It's just like The Godfather 3. I think the Reluctant Dragon is fine. That's just a very hard character to get excited in. Like, "Oh, I'm scared of everything." It's like, okay, like, fine, whatever.
Well,
like,
this show lasted one season, right? 17 episodes, I think.
Right.
Yeah, it was not a hit.
No. And like I said, I felt that it was cropping a lot from Bullwinkle, and to the point where I honestly thought it was one of the Bullwinkle voice actors. So thank you for correcting me on that it's Paul Soules. But I mean, I was just listening to it again. I'm just like, I hear that Bullwinkle inside of his voice a lot.
But Bullwinkle's actually a better character.
Oh, Bullwinkle's a much better character. And Bullwinkle, he's great that he's that fool that can just walk through everything and never be affected.
Kind of like Mr. Magoo.
Yeah.
Like there's commonalities with all these characters that appeal, and Mr. Toad to a certain extent kind of walks through unaffected by the, and leaves wreckage in his wake. Reluctant Dragon is, we're going to take a thing that children are usually afraid of, and we're going to recast him as the one who is afraid. Casper the friendly ghost.
Ferdinand the Bull.
We're going to take the thing, but kids will identify, because it's like, because kids are often afraid and kids are reluctant, and so they will automatically identify with and sympathize with this character. which you get, and it's like, okay, right, we've seen many versions of that. Now it's just a matter of how engaging and entertaining is this iteration.
The one thing we didn't talk about when it came to Mr. Toad was the Wayfarer and the last apparent voice performance by Paul Frees. So kind of sad that he went out on that character, but at least he went out working for Rankin and Bass, because he definitely did a lot of work for them.
Working until the end.
I was actually surprised that he was just doing the one voice.
Yeah.
I was expecting a lot more. I mean, I was expecting a lot more only because it's Paul Frees who does who did so much. Honestly, if you think back on it now and thinking about this animation style and that one, that Rankin and Bass 87 one, it's almost anime adjacent. It's very rough Studio Ghibli, especially the people, but also, I don't know, it's not as competently made. Don't get me wrong, but then you look at this and it's very much 70s, but it feels like it's in the 70s. I was trying to think about it more. It feels very Studio Ghibli early and rough, which is okay, but I personally prefer this 70s animation style. I think it has a lot of character comparatively. The kind of character that I like. But then you got to give it interesting characters to focus on, and Reluctant Dragon is just whatever.
We get it. You're a Mr. Toad guy. You're not a Reluctant Dragon guy.
You know
the
what?
The world is divided. You know, you're one or the other.
Pick a side.
That's right.
Pick a side.
The final battle has come.
Guys, it looks like Carl Banas might still be alive and be 94 years old.
Get him.
Yeah. I was looking because he went and became a radio DJ in the later part of his life, starting in 87. So right around the Mr. Toad time here. And he was on a couple Canadian radio stations. And it says that he's still around. So
we got to get him.
That would be kind of neat.
No contact information though on
his agent's been dead for 30 years.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll go up to Toronto and start knocking on doors.
Do you know Carl Banas? No, now leave me alone.
Right. Yeah, they're Canadian. They wouldn't say no. Oh, geez. I wish I did. I don't. I'm so sorry.
So Mike, what are we talking about on the next episode of Rankin on Bass?
We will be back next month with a look at the Ballad of Smokey Bear. And I think there's also a Smokey Bear TV show.
I was about to say there is.
Yeah, so we'll be doing kind of a twofer again, where we talk about a special and an animated show. So thank you so much for tuning in. I want to thank Abby Stabby for our artwork, as well as the Great Octopus for our theme music. Be sure to subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform. Until then, be sure to rate and review the podcast wherever you get it. Tell your friends, tell your family, and please stay weird.
Hello, this is Chris Haskell from They Live by Film. For those that don't know us, Adam, Zach, and we built a podcast over the last 2 years that's a combination of film discussion from 3 very different perspectives, as well as industry interviews with the leaders in boutique Blu-ray and 4K community. We started with Dev Crocodile, but over time we've been lucky enough to speak with Arrow Video, Severin, Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, Radiance, Indicator, most of the OCN partner labels. It's been a blast. You can find us wherever you podcast, and also actually recently as part of Someone's Favorite Production Podcast Network. We hope to see you online.